What's up, guys? Welcome to Season 3, Episode 4 of Trainer Talks with Trainer Dave. Joined by my fourth guest on the podcast, Gage Harness. Gage, appreciate you being here today.
Thanks for inviting me.
Yes.
I'm excited.
Super excited to have you here. This is probably the biggest change up on the podcast just because we've had trainers, physical therapists, gym owners, chiropractors, but you aren't any of those things, which is okay, but you're a videographer, owner of Engauged Media, and entrepreneur.
Yep.
Anything else you want to add to that?
I'd say that's a pretty good summary of it. I'm a man of God as well. That matters. And yeah, I think that's, to be fair, I've actually edited some of your podcasts before. So
that is right. Yeah.
The fact you've asked me when I have literally nothing to do necessarily with training itself, I'm very honored.
Yes, absolutely. Now, yeah, I brought you on just because, kind of like you said, I mean, we've met through you've done some videography for me. You edited season 2 of my podcast, and you do a lot of like videography with gyms around town.
Yep.
So I thought you'd be a really cool guest to have on here. And then also, like, I consider you to be like a serial entrepreneur. And, you know, when we're in the fitness industry, a lot of times, you know, we aren't just, you know, service providers, we are also entrepreneurs as well. So I feel like your entrepreneurial fortitude, it's going to carry over a lot with, you know, service providers in the fitness industry.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of the same things across the board.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we'll start off with a little bit of a background on you. Where are you from?
Yeah, I was born in Wichita and raised in Derby, Kansas. And I've been here ever since.
Sweet. And where'd you attend college?
I went to college actually a couple times. I went to WSU for a year. I went to Newman right out of high school for 2 years on a bowling scholarship. And then through that, I didn't even actually get a degree from it. I kind of forced myself into like going into college with that type of mindset of just like, I have to go because I have nothing else to do.
Right. Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, nothing came from it other than I realized I don't want to work in a office. I don't want to do anything along the lines of that. That's not how I learn. That's not how I live. So yeah, I got out of there.
Well, I didn't even know that. What were you like aiming to get your degree in?
Physical therapist, actually.
Oh, okay. Wow. Wow. That's right. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Was that at Newman and WSU?
Technically, I was focused on physical therapy at Newman. And then when I went to WSU, I was actually doing psychology and bio, which biology is a good major to get for you to go into PT.
Okay, so that makes sense. Gotcha. And then you were a former collegiate bowler. Was that right? How talk about your experience bowling at Newman.
It was challenging. Going into college sports is a whole different ball game than high school. Like high school, you could be the top dog, and then the moment you walk into bowling or football, in your case, you're nothing, and you start from zero. And it's a very humbling thing, and I didn't take it as well as I should have. I think that probably affected my experience. I kind of went in with an ego, and that ego got slammed to the ground the first week. So,
well said. I mean, yeah, I just had a softball hitting coach on my podcast last week, and that was something we talked about. Is you can be the top dog in high school, but once you go to college, you know everybody's good, and you get humbled pretty quick. And so, no, it's a very, very normal thing what you experienced. And so you bowled for 2 years?
Bowled for 2 years, yeah.
Okay, awesome. Did you say you enjoyed your time there, or did you kind of feel like it wasn't for you?
I mean, it was really just school.
Okay.
I did not like school at all.
I gotcha.
That's not how I work.
Yeah, you probably just went to college to bowl. Is it? Would you say
for
that?
the most part? Okay. Yeah.
I mean, I'll be honest. I pretty much went to college to play football, so it's very normal with college athletes.
You went to Friends.
Went to Friends. Yep. So
that's cool.
Very similar experience. So then, yeah, you talked about you pivoted, and then when did you decide you wanted to become a videographer?
So I never really had a key moment where I was like, I want to be a videographer. I've been taking photos for 4 or 5 years, and I've always kind of had that creative side of me. When I was actually thinking about it earlier today, I realized that my first actual business was when I was 11.
Oh yeah.
And I would do this old school art called pinstriping, which is what you put on classic cars and stuff. And I started that when I was 11, and just that creativity, I think just kind of, I mean, it just followed me wherever I went.
Yeah.
And so basically that creativity just followed me pretty much wherever I went. And I found myself actually going out to Wyoming.
Okay.
Last summer, I went to Wyoming to work. And the reason for that was just to go out there and honestly just learn the camera as much as I could, because I had friends that were doing videography at the time and that interested me. And I was able to work there, save a bunch of money, have a cool experience because I wasn't in college because I had no idea what I wanted to do. And the time I was out there working a 9 to 5 style job, I realized I absolutely hated it. I hated how I felt. And I knew that once I came back to Kansas, I needed to find something that stuck, that I was good at. And so, again, I just spent all of my time working on videos, learning how to edit when I was out in Wyoming, everything about the camera. And I came back on August 6th and jumped right in.
That's awesome.
And no experience before that. I had a little bit of editing, but nothing outside of that.
Yeah. So you basically would call yourself self-taught?
For the most part, yeah. A lot of YouTube.
Nice. That's cool. That's cool. So I know, yeah, people will literally, and that's what I was assuming, is that you went to school for like a media or something like that.
No, I just kind of always had the thought
Yeah.
in the back of my head. I mean, I started a podcast when I was in college.
Okay.
So there's that.
Nice. So you've been a videographer almost a year now, is that right?
Yeah. Today's 10 months.
10 months.
Right around 10 months. I just filmed the 10 months. Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. And yeah, and I mean, it seems like you've grown quite a bit over these past 10 months. And well, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot to dive into that.
Yeah. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. So you basically decided to start your own business just because you knew just like the corporate grind wasn't for you.
Yeah. And there's just something intriguing about just controlling almost everything within your job. Like pretty much like with entrepreneurship, I've found that you can honestly control like your income.
Absolutely.
Sometimes.
Absolutely.
It's just straight up, how much are you willing to work and
100%.
how much are you willing to struggle and push through it. So that appealed to me. 100%. There's a lot of freedom. There's a lot of ways to create options.
Absolutely.
Later in life, and that's what I want.
Yeah, no, I'm the same way. I love it. You know, you get to call your own shots. You get to, I think you are right. You can, there's no cap on your earnings, which is really cool. And you can structure things however, your way. And so, yeah, no, it's really special. Mm-hmm. Why did you name your business Engauged Media?
I actually have a pretty cool story about that. So at first it was going to be like Harness Visions because my last name.
Right.
So it's like Harness Your Vision, some geeky thing. Well, when I was in Wyoming, I had a couple of buddies that did remote sales out there and also worked at the national park that I was at. And his name was Ziad. And another one was named Braden. Braden's actually my roommate now.
Nice.
We met there and now he lives with me. Well, we were driving through the park and we were listening to Alex Ramosi, his $100 million leads book on the audiobook because they were in sales. I was wanting to learn more about it. And Zia just out of nowhere was like, you should name it Engauged, like your name. And I'm like, that's perfect. I mean, I about went to the side of the ditch. I was so excited. Yeah. I was like, that's it. And came back and created a little logo on Canva, just like everyone does. And
that's awesome. No, I think it's a good name, very creative, and I think it's cool how you have you literally have your name in the word engaged. So
yeah, some people say it way wonky. They're like, "Is that engaged or engaged?"
Oh yeah,
like, no,
yeah. So you've been in business 10 months now officially, and did you actually file an LLC?
Yep.
Okay, so your LLC's been in business 10 months, right?
No, actually, since the start of the year.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
only 6 months.
Okay, I got you. See, but yeah, and I argue like some people think when they want to start off a business, first thing they got to do is start an LLC. Yeah. But maybe, but my argument is get some cash flow first and then go start an LLC. Because you have to pay money to file an LLC, and I hate seeing people file an LLC, get all the ducks in a row, and then they can't create any cash flow.
Yeah, I mean, just because it's a business doesn't mean it's a business.
100%. Yeah.
No, I wasn't even going to do an LLC. I was just going to use my social this year. Even.
Oh, yeah.
But then tax season came around, and I was like, I just got absolutely slammed.
Yeah, I bet.
And I was like, I need an LLC where I can like write
Write
things
things
off now.
off. Yeah.
Yep. But yeah, just jump in. Don't waste your time creating the perfect logo and that stuff. Try to get clients or
Yeah.
get your foot in the door.
Yeah. I
That's
completely
what I
agree.
always stress.
So yeah, talk about how your business has grown these past 10 months.
Yeah, so I can be super transparent if you would like me to.
Sure. Yeah. Please do.
So one of my big goals with the business is I'm trying to be as transparent as possible. So if you look at my social medias or anything, you're going to find pretty much the exact numbers
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
exactly how much I'm making. But when I first started, I only had $2,000 in my name and I had no clients. I've never done this before. I've edited. And so that first month I hardly made anything. And that's actually when you and I met.
Okay. Yep. Yep.
How I started at least was I would call people and offer them a free video and be like, "Hey, I've never really done this before. I'm trying to build connections, yada yada. Can I do a free video for you?" And you were one of the 20 that said
Wow.
yes. And what's funny is 15 out of the 20 probably were gyms here in the
That's
area.
crazy.
Gyms just always want content.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So we jumped on that and I made like $1,000 and things have just continuously grown until maybe the last couple of months.
Yeah.
The last couple of months, I think, have been like the dip
Okay.
of the business
Yeah.
where you're kind of like going a little lower. And that's kind of the point where entrepreneurs jump ship.
Yeah.
And at least from what I've read and just how I feel, at least. And so I've just been pushing through that the last couple of months. And I think we're on our way back up. But I mean, there's been a lot of the ins and outs. Is there anything particular?
No, I mean, yeah, you kind of nailed it. I mean, yeah, so just kind of our how our relationship started. I remember, yeah, you called me, I think, yeah, August of last year and was offering a free video session. And I remember at first I was a little sketched out. Like I thought, like I was like, yeah, is this real? But then I could definitely tell it was a real person on the line. And I mean, you said free video session, no strings attached. And I mean, kind of like you said, I can always use content. And so
Yeah.
I think actually you came out to the gym literally the next day and
Yep.
filmed a session. I mean, I thought you were super cool and I thought you put out a pretty good product. And no, I thought that was really cool. And you're literally the only person that's ever done that. Well,
Really?
actually, I've had some free video sessions come just because I'm like friends, but I've never had anybody like cold call me like that.
Yeah, I got actually been told that a lot. I couldn't tell you where I got the idea, but I mean, I met so many people
Yeah.
over the last 10 months of just doing a free video, and those things add up.
Yeah. No, and I loved it because like that used to be me. Like, I mean, but for me, I would offer to train people for free. And I mean, I think it's a great way to get your name out there and, build your portfolio,
Yeah.
build connections, at the very least, just ask for a Google review.
Mhm.
So no, I definitely respected it. And that was was my thought is, that was probably once me on the other end of the phone, asking to do a free session for a team or something like that. So
Yeah, that's the thing is like some people kind of jump into business and they're like, let's start this LLC, let's open up this bank account, let's do all of these things that cost money.
yeah,
And it's like, okay, now you have that set. Now how are you going to get your clients?
exactly.
And then it's like, well, you can't just lie to them and say you know exactly what you're doing when you don't. And that was kind of the free idea or where the idea of a free video came from. Because for one, I didn't know if I was even going to like it. And two, if people weren't going to take a free video, they're probably not going to take very much else.
Yeah.
So that's why I always stress people. Just give value over and over and over before you get all the other things.
That's awesome. How many businesses do you think you cold called in the month of August?
I think it was like 180,
Wow, that's insane.
170.
How many do you think actually took you up with the free video?
I have the stats. I should have looked at them. I think there was 11 that month.
That's insane.
That said yes.
So 11 out of 180?
Yeah.
That's nuts.
A lot of no's.
Wow. So and if you don't want to ask, like, was there anybody was it mainly just like, no, thank you, we're not interested? Or was there anybody that was like rude about it?
Yeah.
There were some rude people?
Yeah.
Dang.
It's never personal though.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
It's the yeses feel so good though.
That's awesome. No.
Just the yes to a free video. It's like, all right, here's my chance to make my mark and over deliver for something that was free.
And so out of those 11, how many were gyms? Do you know?
Probably 7, I think.
Wow.
7 or 8.
Wow. I mean, do you know off the top of your head, like which gyms you've shot for?
Yeah, I can tell you. So Level Wad, Fundamental
Oh, yeah,
Fitness,
yeah,
I
yeah. Yep,
think.
Rainier.
They're Cornerstone
Okay. Yep.
Fitness, Impulse Fitness,
Yep. Maddie, Ginger,
Maddie,
Maddie, yeah,
yeah, Grit and
Gingy, Green
Grace.
Race.
That's all I can think of
Okay.
off the top of
No,
my head.
cool. No,
Sounds
that's
about right.
awesome. No, that's really cool. And yeah, I know most of those gyms you just mentioned, so
Hmm.
that's pretty cool. And then, so did you also reach out to like other businesses, like I think real estate stuff like that?
I tried real estate. I tried barber shops. I tried tattoo shops.
Wow.
Literally any business within like a 10-mile radius of like Wichita's core,
Yeah,
I called. It didn't matter how or what, but 90% of the people that said yes were gym
that's
owners.
insane. Why do you think that is?
Well, I think gym owners are just, well, for one, they always want content. You
Yes,
guys, I mean, the
100%.
the key to grow you guys like as a business is outreach and content, I would say.
Absolutely.
Just off of what I've learned
No,
from
I would
other.
agree.
And I also think like there could be an aspect of just like giving people a chance.
Yeah.
Cause like you said it yourself, like you were giving out free lessons.
Hmm.
They've been in that spot
Oh,
before.
yeah.
So they're a lot more willing to
Absolutely.
give someone else that chance.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big part of it.
Yeah. And I'd argue most of those gyms do like first class free type
Really?
deals. So yeah, we get it. And I also think gym owners, trainers, like they just know how you really have to knit and grit things out. I think
Yeah.
gym owners, trainers, like those really are true entrepreneurs. And so I think we understand that entrepreneurial fortitude that you were coming from.
Mhm.
So and we respect that.
Yeah. I mean, every interaction I've had with any gym owner is a positive one.
Yeah. No, that's
You know,
awesome.
they're very accepting people. The people
Absolutely.
you've had on your pod, I've met most of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're great.
Yeah.
They're awesome.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Some of the most charismatic and hardworking people you'll ever meet.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's awesome. So you mainly, yes, you said you like, do you specialize in any type of content? So I know we were talking videography, but also thought you've done some, photography, podcast editing.
Mhm.
I mean, is there one core service that you really feel like you specialize in, or do you feel like you're able to offer a lot of different services?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I'm first off, I'm willing to work with anyone as long as they're like just good people
Yeah.
and they also work hard and they're honest. But I would say what am best at, I guess you could say, is personal branding or like brand awareness and a service-based
Yeah.
businesses, I would say.
Yeah.
Those are probably my two favorites, at least.
And then, like, is there a type of content that you enjoy doing the most?
Personal brands.
Personal brands. Okay.
Yep.
Sweet.
For sure.
Yeah. That's awesome. So we'll kind of dive more in the business aspect. So like how many hours a week would you say that you currently work?
It fluctuates. You probably know this.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
There's days where I'll get a call from Dave at like 11 at night and we're both still slamming
Yeah.
and doing it. And then there's other days where I hardly do anything. But I would say to make things as consistent and like less stressful as possible, I guess you could say, I have to have some sort of schedule. So right now I'm probably pushing 50 hours a week,
Yeah.
but I shoot for 40 to 45.
That's good.
I do something every day. I
Yeah.
can't.
Yeah, I'm
do
same
it.
here. Yeah. You mentioned it, but I love your business recap. So where you talk about all the videos you've shot, all the cold calls you've done, and then you literally will break down, dollar by dollar how much money you made.
Mhm.
And like that's really rare. But I think people love seeing that. It seems like you get a lot of engagement and comments on those posts. And no, I love it. And it's kind of inspired me a little bit to make some kind of similar videos as that.
Mhm.
So no, it's really cool. But I think there were some points you said you were working like 70 hours a week or something
Oh,
like that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially starting out.
Yeah.
I mean, when you have no money, you have rent, you have that life to live, right?
Yeah.
Stuff to pay for, you have no choice.
Yeah, I agree.
Like you have to do everything possible. And sometimes weeks are like that, especially if I can't sleep. Like that's kind of been a reoccurring thing in the last 10 months. I'm restless.
Yeah.
It's constantly on my brain. It's like I'm in fight or flight mode constantly. And sometimes it's 3 a.m. and I've been laying in bed for 5 hours and I'm like, well, I'm going to get up.
No.
And you just get up and you kind of deal with it. But I'm trying to have a healthier outlook on it.
Yeah.
With like sharing everything, there's a lot of comparison I've found. Like
Yeah.
I'll look at other videographers, maybe not in the
100%,
area,
yeah.
but they're making way more than me.
Mm-hmm.
And then I start to compare, then it's like, okay, like the money that I just made this month, first off, I made it through the month.
Yeah.
Second, it was 100% because of the work I put in that I made it. And like anything extra is just extra. And I should look at it as just extra, not a low or high number.
Yeah.
And that's helped a lot with the restlessness for sure.
Yeah. That's good. No, I can definitely relate to that. And I do love like kind of what you said is like when you jump ship and start your own business, like you kind of have your back against the wall and you're either going to sink or swim. But I'm a firm believer that like when you have your back against the wall, you have no choice but to succeed. Or else you got to go back to corporate America and find a stable job.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, and it's not a lot of people. Yeah. I don't know what the odds are in the statistics, but that's a very common thing where people will start their own business and a year later they decide it's not for them and they need a stable job.
Yeah, I don't blame them. Yeah. I look at my friends and I'm like, I wish I could have that like consistency and they're not stressed out like me. But at the same time, it's like I gotta ask for, or they gotta ask for days off, and I'm like, I'm just gonna go do this thing, and
for sure,
I might work a little later, but it's worth the trade offs.
Yeah, no, I agree. I guess you kind of answered that, and you in your first month in business, you did like what 7? You shot for like 7 gyms.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know throughout the last 10 months, are there any other gyms you can think of that you produce content for, or are those 7 kind of the core ones?
I mean, I do a lot of remote work as well.
Okay.
It's not that are for gyms, unironically, or physical therapists.
Gotcha.
But at least in town, that's all I can think of right now.
And you can be completely unbiased. Like I know most of those gyms. Is there any place that like really stuck out to you that you thought was really cool to shoot for, or what they were doing was super cool?
There's a few, and I thought about that question before I even got here. I think the only reason why I would say they're my favorites is because I've learned, like I know them now.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've worked with them more and things like that. And if I had to point out at least 2 or 3, I'd say you first off, Dave. You
how
stick
kind.
out to me.
Thank you.
But Level Wad,
absolutely.
And the reason I say Level Wad is probably the community,
absolutely,
the culture.
I agree.
I go there and film for John and Jenna and Alex and all of them, and they're super kind, super open to literally any level person to work out, right? And also, like, people feed into the camera.
That's cool.
Pretty much.
Yeah,
like, they're excited to be there at the gym.
Yeah.
And things of that nature. I like yours because it's a very personal thing. Anytime that I filmed for you, I guess I only filmed maybe twice or once.
I think it was once.
But I could see, like, how close you are with your clients. And that also goes into the camera, and you can see that. And that's what I appreciate. And then I would say Impulse Fitness in Wichita with Peyton.
Yeah.
He was actually the first one that I ever signed. First client
Sweet.
I've ever signed for a gym.
That's
and
cool.
We did a lot of stuff up there too.
So. Yeah, no, that's cool. Yeah, absolutely. I know I had both John and Alex on my podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Been down there many times, and I agree they're doing big things down there. And I actually did go to Impulse and worked out at Peyton's gym. And yeah, very hospitable guy. Just I still have never met him really in person, but he unlocked the doors from like his phone, and I got to just go in and get a workout on a Sunday. And
cool.
Really cool spot. And yeah, it looks like you guys are doing a lot of work together, you and Peyton.
Yeah, we do quite a bit together.
Because he also has his own fencing company, is that right?
Yep.
Okay, so you do a little bit of boat work where Impulse and his fencing company?
Yep, I kind of do it. Well, we kind of stepped away from the gym. But
okay, gotcha.
But yeah.
That's really cool. So are there any advice you have when cold calling people? Because it's scary. What advice do you have?
What advice do I have for cold calling? Well, backstory. My freshman year of college, I went on this internship that was door-to-door sales. It was for this place called Southwestern Advantage, and I would like sell like educational systems and books to lower income people in Louisiana. That's where I was at. And over that course of time, I knocked on 1,900 doors.
Wow.
And I only sold 19.
Wow.
So literally exactly 1%.
That's insane.
And the biggest lesson that I've ever learned from cold calling, whether it's through that door-to-door or me actually calling for videography and stuff, is every no is closer to your next yes. right? Like you could do 10, 10 calls and all 10 said no. Well, 10's a very small amount of calls, to be honest. Like that's honestly nothing.
Yeah.
And so don't take those no's super personal. Just like keep going and realizing that your percentage is going to get higher to your next yes the more you do. Like if you call so much, like if you call 1,000 times, you get 100 yeses. That's a 10% time. That's 10%. Sorry. And that's 100 people
Yeah.
that you just got a yes from. And yes, as in like they're giving you a chance to introduce yourself and things of that nature, not just like selling it. That's not the point of it. But I'd say that's like one of the biggest pieces of advice is don't take the no's so personal.
Yeah.
They don't know who you are. They just, some people just don't want to hear. They don't have the time of day, right?
Yeah.
Like if someone cold calls you and tries to sell you right out the gate,
Yeah.
it's like, I'm a busy man. I don't want to hear this. I've heard this same thing over and over. And that's kind of how I was trying to find a loophole and being like, hey, I'll do this for free if you give me a chance. But definitely that. And then, I mean, you're just going to have to put in a lot of numbers.
Yeah.
A lot of work, a lot of dials. It's going to suck. Just reiterate, get better, and so forth. I think that's probably the key.
Yeah, no, I think that's good advice. Yeah, well, first off, I love like the numbers is insane. Like 180 and you got 11 out of 180. Like that's I don't think people realize the amounts of volume you have to do when you're cold calling or cold emailing to actually get a response.
Yeah.
But we're going.
I've never really dabbled in emails. I either will walk straight into the business with my camera, or I'm gonna call you,
and that is the way to do it, honestly. Because you build a more personal relationship over the phone or else in person. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we could go into the entire psychology of like sales, but I'm so little in the game that I have no idea what I'm saying.
No,
but when it comes to that,
I'd argue you're doing better than majority of videographers and entrepreneurs, just because a lot of people are just so afraid of cold calls, and again, they're afraid of rejection.
Yeah,
and I think that's probably another key is just not being afraid of rejection. And because I've been rejected a lot of times too through consults and stuff like that. The reality is not every consult is going to lead to a sale, and you have to understand that early on.
Yeah,
and I also would argue like getting rejected so many times and not being afraid to ask for a sale, like it just makes you a better person, and it's going to translate to life. Like I feel like after starting a business, I still have fears, but like a lot of my fears have gone away just because, that first cold call is probably really scary. But like you said, the more repetitions you put in, just like the less scary it gets and the better you become at it.
Yeah. And I think the only reason, at least for me, that I maybe was scared of rejection was because I was attached to an outcome. Like if you go into the call, and that's a whole other psychology thing that I've read about, at least, is like if you're going into the call and you're like, I have to make this sale, like no matter what, that other person is going to pick that up just based off of your mannerisms and desperation. Yeah. And it's like if you can walk into a call, know there's no strings attached, know you're going to be okay whether they say yes or no. I mean, you become detached to the outcome and you become more confident in yourself.
Sure. Well, and I think also something is you were providing value. Like you weren't asking for anything really. I mean, and even when you gave me a free video session, because sometimes like, yeah, I mean, just be clear honest, like a lot of these gyms that do free classes, they're going to try to sell you afterwards, which is a smart thing to do. There's nothing wrong with that. But like, I felt like you didn't even try to sell me afterwards, which says a lot about you.
I tried not to.
Yeah.
But I mean, you gave me an opportunity.
Yeah.
Right? I met you. We now know each other.
Yeah.
I mean, look at us now.
Yeah.
And, you don't have to sell them.
Yeah, but it's
unless you ask. Then
and I will say, like, whenever somebody does a free video or like free content session for me, like it just makes me that much more likely to want to use pay them eventually. So
I'm curious, how much outreach do you do?
It's slowed down a little bit, but I remember when I had a crazy story when I first started like my LLC. I had an email list of 2,000 people, and I email blasted the 2,000 people. I probably got like 10 or 11 replies.
Yeah.
And then from there I got on the phone with them, and I probably sold or closed like 8 or 9 of those.
See how much volume that is?
exactly.
That's
It's 100%.
crazy.
But and then so for me, I always try. I do a lot of cold outreach, like through email, and then from there, if I get a reply, I get them on the phone.
Mm.
Which maybe not. It's a little bit different in the gym trainer space, but I do try to outreach, cold outreach to sport teams or club sport organizations, and sometimes it literally is just, hey, I'll offer you a free speed agility clinic for your team or something like that.
Yeah.
And so that's the way I've done it.
Again, another reason for going in with no strings attached.
Absolutely.
Is if you're just providing value, they can't lose. Like there's no loss for them. It's only gain for both of you.
Yeah. And again, I'd argue it's the same thing for me. I get rejected more than I get accepted. But I think about the people that have accepted me through, I've done free fundraiser workouts where I've gotten paid clients afterwards, stuff like that. And I don't know, that sticks out a lot more than the rejection to me.
Yep. You don't even think about the rejection 2 days later. You're like, oh, okay.
Absolutely. And I always think too, like I try not to get comfortable because whenever I see business start to slow down, I think I need to go back to the grassroots of the cold outreach, because that's what works the most, in my opinion, But I think everybody, we get a little comfortable just posting on social media, expecting people to come to us.
Yeah. Dude, I've felt that at a spiritual level. Like the last 2 months, well, actually the first 8 months of business, I didn't really have to do much outreach after that first month. And so I had like periods of time where I didn't call a single person.
Yeah.
And it got me complacent. And April hits, I have nothing lined up.
Yeah.
I have a couple like retaining clients, right? But now it's like, okay, I got to go back into the dungeon.
Yeah.
I'm going to call these people, still scared. But now I'm like on the backside of the initial fear in August. And now I'm like, okay, like the relationships that I've made with people, it's worth those 10 no's. It's worth those hundreds of no's.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's part of being an entrepreneur is just constantly challenging yourself and throwing yourself into the fire and trying something new, because if we're doing the same thing over and over again, you get complacent. And I feel like that's the fun part of being an entrepreneur is just finding ways to be creative and, seeing those ways work.
Yeah. I 100% agree.
Let's see here. So what would you say is your favorite part about being a media business owner?
Favorite part of being a media business owner? Well, I probably already said it, but it's 100% the people.
Yeah.
I mean, there has been the people that I've met or have worked with, they have completely changed my life. Like some of my best friends have came from taking a photo of them.
Absolutely.
At a random event
in
a random city, which is kind of what I've done. And, that's the best part is just the amount of connections that you make, the amount of, I guess, winners, I guess you could say, that are in your circle, and then you watch them win, it fires you up.
Absolutely.
You share your wins. Like that's so much fun.
Yeah.
And then also like the coolest thing about having a media business is one, you're creating content for people, but I really like the unknown impact that you can have. So let's say I made a video for you and the video touched a lot of people's hearts. It got people fired up, right? Let's just say it's like a young kid that got fired up from it. That young kid will go to the next kid and get him fired up based off of your video. That impact we'll probably never see, but just the idea that is happening from just pointing a camera and clicking shoot to editing it, that is such a special thing. You have no idea how many lives that could have touched if you just took the chance or put yourself out there.
Yeah.
Like that is what I love.
Well said. No, I think it's very similar between, training and videography because I feel the same way. For me, it's the people, it's the relationships I've built through training. And likewise, I mean, a lot of my close relationships have come through training people or in the fitness industry. So
it sounds really bad, but like if I have a really low spot, I almost don't even lean on my family anymore. I'm leaning on the other entrepreneurs that have gotten through it.
It's so true because I don't know. Is your family entrepreneurs?
No.
Because mine's not. And no knock to them. It's not for everybody, but they don't I feel like they don't truly understand the highs and lows unless you've been in it yourself.
No, it's all on you.
It is.
It's a scary and fun thought.
Yeah. Yeah. What about the hardest part about being a media business owner?
The hardest part? Hmm. So when I went into like this business thing, I hear people say like this is gonna be the hardest thing of your life and it's gonna ruin you and build you up and all of those things. And honestly, the work itself is not the hard part in my eyes. Like putting in the hours is really not the hard part. It's everything that comes with it. So being stressed out from money, being stressed out with relationships, being stressed out with things you don't even see yet.
Yeah.
I mean, it literally does impact every part of your life.
It really does.
Like, I mean, it's nonstop.
It really
It's
is.
honestly nonstop. Like, even just driving up here, a 20-minute drive,
Yeah.
I'm thinking about what I need to do next. And it always feels like there's more and more
No,
and
I
more.
completely agree.
That's definitely the hardest thing about all of it. Maybe not just media, but just business in general, is it's a constant thing.
No.
It doesn't shut down.
Yeah.
And I don't even know how to turn it off.
No, I mean, I'm right there with you, and I totally get it. It really, it never stops. I mean, there's always something you can be doing as a business owner to grow your business, whether it's doing another cold call, asking for testimonials, posting on social media, doing the actual videography. Like, there's always something you can be doing, and getting that work, finding that work-life balance, and knowing how to shut off is really difficult.
How do you think we could do that?
It's so hard. I think trying to really be mindful about setting time aside for ourselves, like going on a vacation.
Yeah.
I mean, just unplugging. That's like the only way I can think about it. I'm not the best person to ask because I don't do a very good job of it myself, but.
No, I'm only asking because it's hard.
It is.
Like I've asked a lot of people that question.
Yeah.
And it's kind of the same thing. They're like, you can't really shut it off fully. Like I was at a bachelor's party last month and I was out with them and I couldn't even like be present.
It's so hard.
I was just thinking like, I need to get back and like
Yes.
do this. I can't get, I
100%.
can't drink alcohol. I don't really, but
it's tough. You've read the book Be Obsessed or Be Average by Grant Cardone.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
Oh man, I don't know if we should. I mean, I've kind of stepped away from most like self-development type books.
Yeah.
Not because of any particular reason. It's just I've read most of them. And
Yeah.
I feel like they kind of say the same thing. What was the title again?
Be Obsessed or Be Average.
I mean, you have to be obsessed.
Yeah.
To a certain extent. I mean, that's what entrepreneurship is.
Yeah.
Like it's a battle of who's more obsessed.
Yeah.
In my eyes. And then Grant Cardone, he's just an interesting figure.
He is, because that one was like, Grant Cardone's going to tell you like, it's okay to be obsessed. It's okay to work 60-hour weeks. Because his argument is when he works 20 hours a week or when he's not as busy, that's when he feels at his lowest.
Yeah, and I think it's BS.
Really?
Honestly. I think that's the funny thing is we say we can't turn it off, but I think there's points where you can for sure.
Agree.
It's definitely a choice to be obsessed with something. Yeah. You don't have to be.
I'll agree. Like this is also summertime is kind of an iffy time. Maybe it's for you, but it is for. I know gym owners, trainers. Summer is kind of a weird time with people traveling and stuff like that. So I've also been able to take a little bit more time off these past few weeks, and I try to cherish it. Like got to watch all the new season of Squid Games, and I really try to cherish the time off because I know it's going to pick back up, here pretty soon.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. Yeah. That's all I got to say.
Do you ever struggle with burnout?
I haven't with this yet.
Okay. That's good. That's really good.
I have experienced burnout before, and it was actually right after I got done with that internship. Door. When I came back home from that, I literally couldn't do anything.
Wow.
Like I was so burnt out from humans, like just talking constantly or working. Because one of the things they stressed, which I don't agree with, is working like you have to work 80 hours a week.
Wow.
And like that was part of the internship.
Wow.
Like you had to prove that.
That's insane.
It was terrible. And so when I got back home, I didn't want to look at anyone. I didn't want to talk to anybody. And so, I've dealt with burnout in that regard. Yeah. But with this,
that's good.
No, not so much.
There's a quote I like. They say burnout actually stems from like environment, not from what you're doing every day. So like, and I felt that same way, like I've been at some other gyms in the past where I wasn't burnt out of training. I was just burnt out of the low pay and the unrealistic expectations from management. But that's the nice thing about being an entrepreneur and calling your own shots is you kind of control the environment. And so that's probably a big reason why you haven't burnt out yet.
Yeah, and then I think at a certain point, I haven't got there yet, may not, is after so long of burning that candle, there's a certain point where I feel like you can step back.
Oh yeah,
And,
absolutely.
like, you don't have to be so obsessive, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're trading this, like, short-term pain for long-term gain. Like, when I hit 35 or whatever,
Yeah.
I'm hoping I don't have to work as hard as I am right
I
now.
agree. No, I agree. And I mean, how old are you right now?
I just turned 23.
23. Okay. Yeah. That's really young. And I think it's good that you started your business that young because I know they say there's the quote, like, you should work as hard as you can in your 20s.
Yeah.
And then
You're either an overlived 30-year-old or an underlived 30-year-old is what I've heard.
Yeah. That's
You
accurate.
kinda gotta choose, or you can do both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and they
Work
do
hard, play hard.
They do say, I think these first 1 or 2 years in business are like the hardest years.
Mhm.
And then once you get more established and once you build more connections,
Yeah.
I mean, I still feel like cold calling, like that's probably always something good to do, but I feel like there's got to be a point where you don't have to do it as much.
Hope so.
Yeah, yeah, no,
Hope so. That's the thing is if you can get so good at what you're doing
yeah,
and obsess over it
yeah,
to the point you're the greatest,
yeah,
quote
yeah,
unquote, people will come to you.
yeah. I agree.
I've seen it firsthand.
Yeah, absolutely. What about imposter syndrome? Do you ever feel?
Do I ever feel imposter syndrome? No, not really.
Not really. That's good.
I don't really know how to answer that question.
No, that's good. No, that's okay. That's probably a good thing that you don't feel that way.
Mm.
So we talked about how you find clients. Obviously, you found a lot of clients cold calling.
Mhm.
Are there any other ways besides cold calling that you feel like you've gotten clients from?
Yeah. One thing that I'm stressing to I need to stress on myself even more is creating content, for one, is a big way of gaining clients. But also, like, if you can start right now, try to connect with as many humans as you possibly can.
Absolutely.
When I was 20, I started going to like networking group type things. And a lot of the people that I've met through those groups 3 years ago, I've actually done work for.
That's cool.
Another thing I did was I started a podcast, and that wasn't the reason I started one, but
Yeah.
all I was doing was just interviewing entrepreneurs
Yeah.
and like try to tell their story. And
Yeah.
also like I get something out of it too, and they do. And I mean, yeah, 5 or 6 different clients I've gotten
That's
from those
really cool.
podcast
Yeah.
guests.
Yeah.
And one of them was the one that kind of sort of got me into editing. And so it's like all those connections that you can make right now could pay off in the long run.
No, yeah. I completely agree. And that's kind of what I'm doing with this podcast is, interviewing other successful trainers and gym owners. And,
Mhm.
and I do it just, kind of like you said, I mean, I'm absorbing all the knowledge from these, successful fitness professionals, but it's also, it is kind of marketing, because other people can listen to it and other people could be touched by the podcast and these, these inspirational stories. And then it is networking as well. Like a lot of these trainers and gym owners, like a lot of them have actually referred me client, so that's been big time. And I agree, like your network is your net worth. Just, having a videographer that and trust.
Mhm.
A lot of these gym owners, I can lean on them for advice if I ever wanted to open up a gym. I could refer people out. If they're not the right fit, I could refer them to other trainers. So I think you nailed it.
I don't know if you've ever felt this before, but there was a time where I was like, there's nobody around here in town that thinks like me. Like I feel alone
Yeah.
type thing. Like there's no one else trying to push themselves beyond whatever. And that's such a bull crap. Like there's so many good people
Yeah.
in this area that are working even harder than you.
Uh-huh.
You just gotta go out.
Oh,
and find them.
absolutely. Absolutely. And I argue you have to kind of create opportunity. And that's what as entrepreneurs, we are creating opportunities for ourselves. But
Mhm.
yeah, I think, we could argue starting our own podcasts was kind of us starting an opportunity for ourselves to network and meet new people.
Yeah. Everything can be an opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. What business or what networking groups did you go to? Do you remember?
Yeah, I do. None of them were local.
Okay. Wow.
There's this company called Project Endure, who's the owner is one of my good friends. His name's Joe Rinaldi, and it was in Philadelphia.
Gotcha.
And he coached me actually through a half marathon and
Wow.
coached me through, I didn't even mention this, but I was pursuing firefighting at one point.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And he trained me for a half marathon, helped me get into the fire academy, things of that nature. And I would travel up to Philadelphia. I've been there 4 times now for that event. And I've met all kinds of people from every different parts of life.
That's cool.
But as for local, I mean, my networking groups events is me cold calling people and meeting them.
Absolutely.
I don't really know of any in town.
I don't know if you've ever heard of BNI and Weeba. Those are the 2 I know of.
Mm.
But I was unsure if you'd know about those. I mean, I've heard iffy things about them, and I know they cost money. So like, I think you're probably doing it the right way. Just cold calling and basically doing it for free, basically.
Yeah,
and it's more personal that way.
Dude, one of the best things I ever started doing was I would just DM people on Instagram.
Yeah,
like, hey, I don't know who you are, but I'm Gage. This is what I do. Would you want to hop on a call just to meet? And people will reciprocate that.
Yeah, that's
a lot
cool.
more than you think.
Talking about social media, like how important do you think social media is for your business?
Everything. Well, social media, I mean, just like content.
Yeah.
Content in general, I guess, social media. I think it's a massive part, at least in my business.
Yeah. I just imagine so.
I mean, they say attention is currency, and I fully believe that with my entire heart. Like, I have a buddy, his name's Dominic Fusco. Should actually get you guys connected. He is now a trainer, online fitness coach. Yeah. He's got 170,000 followers on Instagram.
Sweet.
Starts his business, and I mean, he's overloaded.
That's nice.
And it's like, it's because he has such a good following that engages with him and they're real followers.
Yeah.
And he's able to just turn this random idea into a business in a blink of an eye.
Yeah, that's cool.
And so that's why I believe that content is huge. Social media is huge.
So you talk about your monthly business recaps.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel like that do you feel like that's helped you grow as a business owner in any type of way?
I've gotten a lot of hate for it.
Really? Why is that?
A lot of people say, why are you sharing that? Like, you're an asshole.
Oh, like people think you're being cocky?
Yeah, and it's it's genuinely not coming from that. It's I just want to show you that
what's possible.
It's hard.
Yeah.
There's lows and there's highs, and I don't know. I've had businesses say they appreciated the transparency. Like, if I send my portfolio off to somebody, I always include my Instagram.
Okay.
And they'll see it and they're like, we really appreciate that.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, it's like my dad or my mom, they're like, you shouldn't post that because they're going to choose the cheaper underdog.
I see.
And
I feel like that is the you kind of are the small business. Yeah. We are the underdogs. Yeah.
I'm nothing.
No.
In the grand scheme, at least I'm so tiny.
I'm the same way. I don't know. I feel like if we view ourselves as the top dog, that's when we get
problems arise.
Yeah, you get a little bit more comfortable, and but I think also as entrepreneurs, especially if you want to be successful, you're always building for something bigger, and you're always setting goals and milestones for yourself.
Yeah, it's just a giant journey of self-improvement, pretty much.
Yeah,
it's how can I get better at this?
Yeah,
or work smarter.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I love the monthly business recaps. I think
I appreciate it.
Okay, so and I know in your monthly business recaps, you talk about retainers versus one-off project. It's what would you say is the difference between those two?
So what I mean by retainers is a reoccurring, I guess, contract. So they're $500 a month.
Yeah.
And we have that set up for 6 months.
Right.
Something. One-off projects, at least for me, is YouTube videos.
Yeah.
Someone they vlogged this, let's say a High Rocks event.
Yeah.
They vlogged it. They want a cool video out of it for a memory. Here you go.
Yeah.
That's kind of one-off.
Yeah.
You're probably not going to do much work for them ever again.
Yeah. Do you prefer either or? What are your thoughts there?
I mean, one-off projects are cool.
Yeah.
But I would much, much rather bring in something that's consistent.
Yeah, I agree.
And so that's what I've been stressing over the last 3 months is because, the first 7-8 months of the business, it was a lot of one-off project and very
Yeah.
little retaining. And now I have 0 one-off and
That's
very
really good.
little
Yeah.
retaining, and it's like, if I know I have, like, a certain amount of income coming in each
Yeah,
month or
absolutely.
a certain amount of deliverables,
Yeah,
you feel a whole lot better.
100%. Yeah, and I relate there too because I think that's something you said in your monthly business recap is like your total revenue went down, but your retainers went up,
Yeah.
and you considered that a win, which I think it is, and I also think that's the way you have to think as a business owner is you have to count the little wins
Mhm.
like that. But no, I know what you mean because I have a lot of I run camps, and I would consider that to be one-off revenue. Like
Mhm.
they're just coming in for a one-time camp, and those can bring in a lot of money, especially if you have a lot of camp participants. But it's also just the you don't have much financial health when you do those kinds of things,
Mhm.
and so yeah, it probably makes you sleep a lot better at night when
Yeah.
next month I'm going to make $5,000 or something like that.
No, definitely, and that's the other reason, not to, like, pat my back or anything, but, like, that's the other reason I like sharing all those metrics
Oh
is
yeah,
because on paper, yeah, I made less money,
yeah,
but I just got more reoccurring that
yeah,
eases all of my troubles and,
yeah,
like, I'll know I'll be okay the next month,
yeah, absolutely.
and but yeah.
Do you feel like there is much financial health with your business? Like, because I kind of feel like retainers might be kind of rare in the videography space. Because I know some like I know a few other videographers that I think
Mhm.
like I'm sure there are some that make good money just by doing one-off projects.
Yeah, so I've been thinking about this a lot because someone asked me the other day, they're like, "Are you a company or are you a freelancer?" And it's like, "I'm pretty much a freelancer, but I wanna be a company." And I
Yeah,
was like,
yeah,
"Here's the difference is a freelancer will really focus on those one-off.
yeah.
I wanna work on something
Okay.
sustainable
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
create something sustainable."
That makes sense.
I mean, I have buddies that only have retainers and they will not do one-off, and they do great,
Yeah,
and they're happy. It's just a matter of getting in the door and
yeah.
finding those people.
That makes sense. So you've done content for a lot of gyms and trainers. What personal content advice do you have like for gyms and trainers? Like what do you think gyms and trainers should focus on content wise if they want to grow their business?
Everybody knows what working out is for the most part. Like, if
Yeah.
you look at 100 different gym accounts,
Yeah.
100 of them are gonna have very similar content
Very true.
being like, "Here's what the workout looks like,"
Yeah.
right? One of the things that I always stress with people is try to build the culture, build the brand, sell the brand.
Yeah.
Don't worry about how cool or how hard your workouts are gonna be. Granted, I don't really this is just what I would say. Don't worry about that. Really focus on selling you as the person, you as the owner, or you as, like, the business, and what
Yeah.
I mean by that is make it personable. Like, "I'm Trainer Dave. Here's what I did in a day.
Yeah.
I'm Trainer Dave. Come with me on a workout."
Yeah.
Not just watch someone do it.
Completely agree.
It's a whole different thing. Try to make it as personable as possible.
Yeah.
People love that.
No,
I think everything is gonna start moving towards those super honest, personable
I
people
agree.
because everyone's becoming bots.
Yeah.
Like, they post the
No,
same
I
things,
agree.
AI is taking over,
Yes.
ChatGPT is ruining people's brains.
100%. Yeah. No, I think that's great advice. And that's kind of how I've been inspired from your videos is I do a lot more like POV
Yeah,
videos and
they're great.
I did a day in the life from 5 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think people like seeing that content because it's personable. Like
Mhm.
you really can't make those things up.
Yep.
And yeah, I remember something you did for me, like when you did that free shoot, is I had one of my athletes give like a testimonial,
Mhm.
and I thought that was really good to kind of grow our brand. We're
Cool.
not really showing videos of him I mean, I think we had B-roll of him working out, but like
Mhm.
hearing his story and, how Empower has impacted his life, I think that could go a really long way.
Yeah, it's a lot it's people wanna hear it and they wanna see it,
Yeah.
not just see.
Yeah.
That's kind of a
100%.
big thing, I
Yeah.
think.
No, that's well said. So this next section is called hot takes.
Okay.
Do you view other content producers or videographers as competition? Why or why not?
No, I don't. I actually have referred a lot of work to a couple people
Yeah.
around here of just things I either A, I don't know how to do, or B, I just don't have the time for.
Yeah.
And it's like smaller type thing.
Yeah.
I don't look at them as competition. I think I was thinking about this morning is people kind of get comparison and competition mixed up.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean by that is just, I think competitiveness is awesome. I think that's a
Absolutely.
great thing. But it's when you start comparing
Yeah.
is where problems start happening. And
True.
that's when it becomes like jealousy
Yeah.
and things of that nature. So I don't look as people.
Yeah. Well, so now I remember you've actually referred people to me as well. So
Oh, yeah, that's true.
No, this says a lot about you. What advice do you have for entrepreneurs starting out?
I just feel like I'm still starting. I'm such a baby. I don't.
Yeah, but I mean, you're at 10 month 10, somebody at month 1. What advice would you give them?
God. I mean, there's very cliche answers.
Yeah.
I would say don't give yourself any other option. Like if you can make it for 3 months,
Mhm.
you make it through the 3 months. Like if you have $0 in your account and you have a month left before you need that money back, ride it out.
Yeah.
Don't give up on yourself so quickly.
Yeah.
I wish I was told that. And another thing is rip the Band-Aid as well.
Yeah. So I like that terminology.
If you got to make the call, just do it.
Yes, just do it.
Don't think, do.
100%. Yeah.
Mhm.
I like that advice. Yeah. And I think, what I would say is if you have a backup plan, like you're not truly all in.
No, I think that's the only reason I was able to fight through those first months.
When you have no other choice, you'll find a way to succeed. And then, I agree. Just do it. Just throw yourself in the fire and learn from those experiences. I think the more you push things off, the less you're likely you are going to be to do those things.
Yep.
Would you say being an entrepreneur is the hardest thing you have ever done?
It's the hardest thing I ever chose to do. I wouldn't say it's the hardest thing in my life.
Yeah.
Ever, but choosing to do it is one thing.
True.
But yes.
Yeah, it is hard.
It has been very hard.
Yeah, no, I want people to understand how hard being an entrepreneur truly is. But also, I'm sure, would you say, is it one of the more rewarding things you've chosen to do?
I have never had more fun in my entire life.
Absolutely. Yeah, it is. It is. It's a roller coaster, but I think a lot of times people want to get back on that roller coaster and experience the thrill.
Yeah, it's a high.
It is.
Constantly. It feels good when you're. It's cool. It's just cool to think that based off of your skill set and what you're passionate for, you can just create an opportunity or income out of thin air. And that is fun.
It really is. You get addicted to it.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you have any, like, a cool story about how a cold call has led to paid business?
I have there's a few. I would say the one that has had the biggest impact on me, and I need to get you guys connected, is Peyton.
Yeah.
Peyton with Impulse.
Yes.
Not to I don't know what the right words would be. Not to suck up to him or anything, but he's literally changed my entire life.
Yeah,
and it started with the free video.
That's awesome.
Between just mentorship.
Yeah.
Creating opportunities for me to do work for him.
Yeah.
And just seeing him grow, it's helping me grow.
Yeah.
And that has helped significantly.
Yeah.
I could go deeper into what those things are.
And he's on a retainer, isn't he?
Yes.
Or contracted. That's cool. That's really cool. So it's probably, I don't know, hundreds, thousands of dollars in business just started from that one cold call.
Maybe.
I think so, because I don't know if he was.
I haven't made 100,000 yet, but
but I'm saying that cold call led to a lot of money, or probably a decent chunk of money.
Yeah,
and that probably wouldn't have happened if you wouldn't have made that call.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing is you have no idea what's on the other side of it.
Absolutely,
it could be way bigger than just a little yes.
Yeah, absolutely,
it could change your life.
100%. No, 100%. Do you have a funny story about how somebody has rejected you on the phone?
I have been cussed out.
You have been cussed out?
Wow. Oh yeah.
We would
especially in door to door. If we're talking about that.
Oh, okay. No, I mean over the phone.
Over the phone?
Yeah.
I've had people say hello and they can hear me. The second time I call.
Yeah.
Hello, is there anybody there? That type of thing. I think the funniest ones, and this is I don't know, it's maybe I don't know. The funnier ones are when you call them back after they say no, and you call them back.
Oh, really?
A month, and they're like, "You're calling again?"
Oh, wow.
I'm like, "Yep."
Nice. Yeah. See, I know a lot of people that would just stop at the one no.
No, you just gotta be persistent.
Yeah, I agree. There's a book I like. It's called Go for No.
Mm,
And I think they say it takes 5 no's to get a yes.
sounds about
And
right.
yeah, so
Yeah, there's a quote. What's it called? A river doesn't cut a rock because of its power, but because of its persistence.
mhm.
And if you're just a persistent human, like people are going to catch on to that and they
Yeah.
like that
Yeah.
consistency. But I don't know. Funny stories I've been cussed out at.
So
It's just a thing, but
yeah.
it's never personal.
Yeah, that's crazy. So we'll start to wrap it up. Do you have any hobbies outside of work?
Hobbies outside of work. Yeah, I play guitar. I've been diving into chess lately.
Nice.
I want to actually like really get into that. I don't know why. I just like it.
Yeah.
And I've got a dog.
Sweet. Yes,
We
that's
hang
right.
out all the time, and I love going out and like exploring and
Yeah.
sunsets and stuff
Sweet.
like that. That's my hobbies.
Yeah, no, that's cool. That's cool. What are your future goals for yourself and Engaged Media?
Yeah, I think. mm,
You envision like videographers or a team or
yeah, I think if I can get it to the point where I could just hand off most of it,
that would be nice.
that would be pretty
Yeah.
cool. Real goals, I just want to like. It would be super cool to have a team type thing to where like we're all making a living off of this one thing.
Yeah,
Like
absolutely.
that's really cool in my eyes.
Yeah. I'm sure it's got to be nice. Like, I mean, you and I can both say we make a full-time living from our businesses, but then to say that our businesses, like we have employees or staff that make a full-time living, like that's got to be pretty rewarding.
Yeah, I'd say that's probably the biggest one. If I can get to the point where this is way down the line, and that's the thing is, I don't even know if I'm going to be doing this in 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
It could be something completely different. I
Yeah.
just pivoted off of it.
100%.
And if I could just get it to the point where I can be present
Yeah.
and not so scarce with
Mhm.
just everything, whether that's just my time
Yeah.
or money, then that's the goal.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I get asked this question a lot too, and it always stumps me because I don't know what 5 or 10 years down the line looks like, and I try to live in the moment, just take it one day at a time. But yeah, if I could somehow get out of the rat race of constantly trying to grind and hustle to make it every month, and
Mhm.
if I could somehow get like passive income to where I don't know, maybe this podcast becomes paid, or maybe I become a social media influencer and I make money through social media.
Mhm.
You never know where life is going to take you.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
we're in our mid-20s.
Yes, we are.
We have so much life, God willing. We
Yeah,
have so much time.
yeah, very true. I think the biggest thing is just do something every day to better yourself. Constantly challenge yourself, and I think things will fall in place.
I agree. Yeah, things will work out.
Last question is, where can we find out more about Engaged Media?
Best place would probably be my Instagram. Just Gauge Harness, no spaces or anything. That, and then if you do check me out, hit me up.
Yeah.
Send me a DM. I'd love to talk to you and just get connected and those sort of things. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
probably the best place.
Definitely recommend following Gage on Instagram. Like I said, the monthly business recaps, they always fire me up a little bit, and it pushes me to do better myself. So especially, I definitely recommend it if you're an entrepreneur to follow Gage and hit Gage up, hire Gage out for videography. He does a great job.
Oh, I appreciate this, Dave.
But yeah, no, appreciate you being on the podcast. Like I said, this was a lot of fun, and again, I think you're an inspiration. You're an inspiration to me, and I think you probably inspire more people than you think through your entrepreneurial journey. So, I know this is a kind of a trainer podcast, but I think trainers, fitness professionals, they can learn a lot from you and the way you do things.
I appreciate that. Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you guys for tuning in, and we will see you next time.